The xenobiology lecture hall fell silent as Professor Velthar's crystalline form shimmered with anxiety. Around the circular chamber, students from 40 different species shifted nervously in their specialized seats. Today's practical examination would test everything they'd learned about psychological warfare and fear manipulation. The fear beast, Velthar announced, their voice resonating through translation implants, is a creature of pure terror. It feeds on anxiety, grows stronger with panic, and has broken the minds of countless warriors across the galaxy. Neo sat in the human section, his fingers drumming against the desk. Beside him, Katniss leaned back with her arms crossed, looking utterly bored. The other students, Thraxians with their multiple eyes, Quelix with their telepathic tentacles, and Mordavians encased in environmental suits, all radiated visible fear. Today, the professor continued, you will face the beast. Those who maintain their composure for 30 seconds pass. Those who break. Velthar's form flickered darkly. Will need psychological reconditioning. A Thraxian student raised 3 of his 6 arms. Professor, surely the humans should be excused. They have no natural defenses against psychic predators. Katniss snorted. Neo grinned. Velthar's confusion was palpable. The humans insist on participating. The examination chamber was a perfect sphere, walls lined with dampening fields to contain the beast's influence. One by one, students entered. The Thraxian lasted 8 seconds before fleeing, all 6 arms flailing. A Quelix managed 23 seconds but emerged trembling. Their tentacles knotted together. The Mordavian didn't even make it inside. Then it was Katniss's turn. She walked into the sphere as casually as if entering a cafeteria. The moment the door sealed, the temperature dropped. Shadows coalesced in the center of the room, forming something that defied description. Too many limbs, too many teeth, eyes that showed each viewer their deepest fears. The observation screen showed Katniss standing still, head tilted. The fear beast towered over her, its form shifting between 1,000 nightmares. It showed her Earth burning, showed her loved ones dying, showed her failures and regrets given monstrous shape. Katniss yawned. The beast recoiled, confused. It intensified its assault, projecting waves of pure existential dread that had once paralyzed an entire battle fleet. Oh, you think that's scary? Katniss's voice came through the speakers. Let me tell you about student loans, or rush hour traffic, or trying to assemble furniture with unclear instructions. The beast hesitated. This wasn't in its behavioral programming. And don't even get me started on Mondays, Katniss continued, examining her fingernails. Or that feeling when you're falling asleep and suddenly jerk awake. Or remembering something embarrassing you did 15 years ago at 3 a.m. The fear beast's form began to waver. It tried a different approach, tapping into primal fears. Darkness, predators, death itself. Katniss laughed. Death? Buddy, I'm from a species that invented horror movies for entertainment. We pay money to be scared. We create haunted houses as tourist attractions. We tell scary stories around campfires for fun. The timer hit 30 seconds. Velthar moved to open the door, but Katniss wasn't done. You know what's really terrifying? Calling someone and they don't answer, but they text "What's up" immediately after. That's psychological warfare. The fear beast was shrinking now, its form destabilizing. The students watched in amazement as humanity's bizarre relationship with fear became apparent. When Katniss finally emerged at the 2-minute mark, she gave Neo a thumbs up. Your turn, buddy. Neo cracked his knuckles and entered the sphere. The fear beast, recovering its composure, prepared its most devastating attack. It would not be caught off guard again. But Neo did something unexpected. He sat down cross-legged on the floor and pulled out a sandwich from his bag. Hey there, he said cheerfully, unwrapping his lunch. Want to talk about it? The beast paused, utterly confused. I mean, you're just doing your job, right? Neo continued between bites. Manifesting fears, breaking minds, standard eldritch horror stuff. But have you considered that maybe, just maybe, you're the one who's afraid? The observation room erupted in confused chatter. What was the human doing? Neo kept talking, his voice calm and friendly. Think about it. You exist solely to frighten others. You feed on fear because you're terrified of being irrelevant. You're basically the galaxy's most insecure entity. The fear beast's form flickered wildly. Plus, Neo added, humans figured out something important a long time ago. The things we're afraid of, usually less scary when you face them. When you understand them, When you befriend them. He held out half of his sandwich. You hungry? What happened next would be discussed in xenopsychology classes for decades. The fear beast, an entity of pure terror that had existed for millennia, that had been weaponized by a dozen civilizations, that fed on the darkest emotions in the galaxy, shrank down to the size of a large dog, curled up beside Neo and went to sleep. The observation room exploded with noise. Professor Velthar's form cycled through colors that indicated complete system failure of their understanding. Neo petted the now docile creature gently. Good boy. Who's a terrifying manifestation of existential dread? You are, yes you are, when he emerged from the sphere. The beast padding behind him like a loyal pet. The entire class stared in shocked silence. Humans, Velthar finally managed, are officially exempted from all psychological warfare examinations. And Mr. Neo, you're expelled. What? Why? Because you befriended the examination. That's not... You can't... The professor's form flickered in distress. You can't just adopt the fear beast? Neo looked down at the creature, now playfully chasing its own tail, a tail that shifted between 3 and 17 dimensions. Too late. I'm calling him Fluffy. Katniss grinned. Humans, we don't run from monsters. We either fight them, befriend them, or make them into pets. Sometimes all three. As they left the lecture hall, Fluffy trotting happily between them, the rest of the galaxy learned an important lesson about humanity. Fear was just another challenge to overcome, another puzzle to solve, another potential friend waiting to be made, and that, perhaps, was the most terrifying thing of all.